Welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport.
Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport, and we are going to take a look at all the action from the past weekend. We have a lot to get through, but before we begin, please subscribe. I really want to have 30 subscribers by the time the Formula 1 season starts. I'd really appreciate it, and to everyone who has subscribed, thank you so much. It means the world. Now we have a whole host of motorsports, once again congesting all in one weekend instead of spreading themselves out. And I won't be talking about NASCAR because it was delayed till Monday and I didn't have time to watch it. I might mention it when it's finished. It is the Daytona 500 after all, and everyone of course loves NASCAR. Instead, let's start with Formula E and the incredible race that went down in Mexico on Saturday. So much happened, it was genuinely difficult to keep up with it all, and once again proves that Formula E is the future. It was the Porsche of Andre Lotterer on pole, Porsche in desperate need of a good result after being unlucky at the last round. If you're a Porsche fan, you might want to skip this bit because it did not end well for them. Lotterer was ran wide by Mitch Evans at the start and then ran wide again at the hairpin, dropping him back even further. But it was Nico Müller who was the first casualty in the Dragon. After starting well and finding himself in 7th, he drove into the wall of his own accord and brought out the safety car. Dragon, another team struggling this season. After the safety car, Felipe Massa crashed out on his own as well, but managed to park safely off the track so the race continued. But not for the unlucky Lotterer. Now with front ring damage from the contact with De Vries and an advertising banner tied around the back of his car, a lot of smoke, a lot of damage, and he would go back to the pits and eventually retire from the race. De Vries was next, battling with Felix da Costa. He would lock the brakes and take out Robin Freins, who had been running really well. I don't know what De Vries was thinking. It was an embarrassing mistake that led to him retiring from a top 5 position. Techeetah got into an inter-team battle that didn't make much sense. They held each other up, lost ground to Buemi, and kept swapping places when the other driver had the attack mode active, effectively holding themselves up. I don't know who does the tactics at Techeetah, but after this race I'm going to presume it's some kind of chimpanzee. Marquin Hard crashed his Neo into the wall whilst being lapped. Good, it's a hideous car and deserves everything it gets. But the big one from this weekend, Sam Bird running wide onto the marbles and crashing into the wall whilst in 2nd place. Sam Bird should be a title contender, but not if he's going to make rookie mistakes like this when he is up for good points. Championship leader Stoffel Van Dorn would make the exact same mistake before retiring himself towards the end. And Mitch Evans took a dominant win for Jaguar that puts him in the lead by a single point ahead of Alexander Sims. Moving on to the Jaguar I-Pace Trophy at the same track, this was a race of punctures. Cabrera and Powell both got punctures on the first lap, effectively ruining their races, before Cheng and Bauer Hejali got into it and ended up in the wall, bringing out the safety car. Not a lot happens in Jaguar I-Pace races. Cabrera, Powell and Bueno would all get more punctures. Jimenez and Simon Evans fought for the whole race for the lead and it was close, but Jimenez took the win and the championship lead. But special shout out to Takuma Aoki. The Japanese driver is paralysed from the race down and managed to finish 5th, first time out in the series. In a Jaguar fitted with hand controls, helped by the number of cars who got punctures or retired, but he did pull off a couple of overtakes and it was a good first outing for the Japanese legend. Moving to New Zealand and the final round of the Toyota Racing Series from Mansfield Park. And included in the field of incredibly young drivers looking to make a name for themselves was 78-year-old Ken Smith, who has won the New Zealand Grand Prix 3 times previously in 1976, 1990 and 2004. He didn't really do much, finished no higher than 15th, but it's still cool to see him on the grid. Race 1 did not start well for Colapinto as he got bogged down on the start and was jumped by Fraga and Lawson, but the red flags would come out shortly after a crash between Denner and Enqvist, the 2 crashiest drivers in the Toyota Racing this year. Once the race restarted, Lawson could not get past Fraga and the title race got even closer. Race 2 was one of the best races I have ever seen in any series for a long time. Constant battling throughout. Fraga followed by Lawson climbing up through the field, but always Fraga in front, meaning the title would go down to whoever finished first out of the 2 in the final race. Race 2 was won by 16-year-old Dutchman Tiemann van der Helm, who missed the first 2 rounds because he was too young, which is adorable. Race 3 was the important one though, not only the title deciding round, but it was also the New Zealand Grand Prix. Fragger led from the start with Collette and Lawson battling intensely behind. Enqvist would crash yet again, bringing out the safety car, and just second before the flags were brought out, Lawson got past Collette and took second behind Fragger. But Lawson could not get past. There were 2 more safety cars after the crashes by Denner and van der Helm, and each time Lawson got close to Fragger, but then Fragger would pull away. Snowder meanwhile started 15th but worked his way into 5th after contact with Saucy, and towards the end of the race Lawson began to struggle, Colapinto got past him and Fragger won the race, the New Zealand Grand Prix and the 2020 Toyota Racing Series title. Not bad for the fastest gamer in the world. I was stupid enough to say a few weeks ago that this was Lawson's to lose, and he did. But this, along with Lawson's poor performances in Formula 3 last year, mean he really needs to get his head down and start getting results. The Asian Le Mans Series 4 hours of Sepang race in Malaysia was almost unwatchable. Something about some cameras being hit directly with thunder and lightning, but the coverage was really irritating. Shows you how much goes into production values in motorsport, I suppose. Anyway, Carlin won the race with Ben Barnicoat, Jack Manchester and Harry Tinknell at the wheel. The Asian Formula 3 Championship was on their penultimate race weekend, also at Sepang. The first race started on a wet track that was drying throughout. Chadwick was holding third bravely behind championship leader Joey Alders for her first podium in the series after having a win taken away for a start line infraction, but it was Jack Doohan who took the win in a very good weekend for the young Aussie. There was a great fight in the second race between Alders, Chadwick and Mazepan, going 3 wide before Mazepan moved from 4th to 2nd. Chadwick would eventually get past Alders herself as he slipped all the way down to 8th. Problematic for Alders as Jack Doohan won the race again and the title race between the pair got even closer. Not much happened in race 3. Mazepan, Fittipaldi and Chadwick climbed through the field, but it was a bit of a procession. Doohan won and completed the hat-trick, closing the gap in the championship to Joey Alders to just 15 points, setting up an exciting finale for next weekend. Finally, WRC in a pretty much snowless Sweden. Maybe we should be worried about global warming after all. No more snow rallies? That's bad. There were no big crashes this weekend, but an interesting fight throughout the rally, and it's not who you might think fighting for the lead. This was an incredible drive by Elflyn Evans, who has started this season on fire, already leading the championship. Neuville struggled after heading off first on every stage, but still scored points and shares the lead in the championship right now. Tanak got second and some points, which is nice for the defending champion, but Rovanperä held off Ogier in another fantastic drive. Toyota did really well, first, third and fourth, and it has been a great start to the season for them, although no one imagined that Ogier would be the one keeping up with his teammates. He is going to have to step it up, but we are still on the early stages. So that is all. I haven't yet watched the Daytona 500 because NASCAR is scared of the rain and the race was delayed. I saw Ryan Newman's accident. It was a big one. I hope he is okay. I haven't heard anything to the contrary. If I watch it and have something to say about it, I'll cover it next week, along with the first round of the Supercars Championship, the final rounds of the Asian Formula 3 and Asian Le Mans Series, as well as the Lone Star Le Mans World Endurance Race and more NASCAR from Las Vegas. I will be doing a predictions video for Formula 1 as well as a livery review, and much more motorsport content along the way. So remember to like, share, leave a comment and subscribe for more. I really want to have 30 subscribers by the time the Formula 1 season starts, so it would mean a lot. Thank you for watching and have a good one.